How WWE fumbled Santos Escobar, I will never understand it. So it's being reported that by tonight, Santos Escobar will be leaving WWE. This is a decision that he is making on his own, and while many are going to say that, oh, it's because he has no connection with the audience, that is furthest from the truth. Matter of fact, I can tell you exactly where it went wrong, but first we gotta go back and look at his career. So before using the moniker Santos Escobar, he would actually be named El Hijo de Fantasma, and this comes from his family lineage where his father was named El Fantasma and his uncle was named Fantasma Jr., both of them being wrestlers in Mexico. And thankfully, he did change his name from Top Secret to Fantasma because, my goodness, Top Secret was a bad name. But then again, look, if you're gonna be a wrestler, at one point in time, you're gonna have a bad name, okay? Pizza Cat Jr. is out there. Shout out to Billy Starks. But once that name change did happen, he started really making a name for himself down in Mexico. A lot of people thought, okay, once this guy touches WWE, we're gonna talk about Rey, we're gonna talk about Eddie, and we're gonna talk about El Hijo de Fantasma as well. He was gonna be an absolute star. He had everything that they had, the charisma, the mic work, the character work, the ring work. He had everything you were asking for. And once he got into NXT, which was at the right time, by the way, during the black and gold era, he was an absolute star here. He would eventually take out Drake Maverick, reveal himself to be Santos Escobar, create the new faction Legado de Fantasma alongside Joaquin Wilde and Raul. Raul would eventually get kicked on out the group, and then Cruz del Toro would take his place. Then we'd have Electra Lopez join in, and his NXT Cruiserweight Championship run is one of, if not the best cruiserweight runs. And I'm gonna be real with you, it's just one of the best NXT Championship runs in general. He was on fire. Like, I'm telling y'all, if you go back and watch this run and then you see the rest of his career play out, you're like, where the heck did it go wrong? He had the ring work, he had the character work, he had the charisma, and he had the mic work, and not just the ability to speak in English, but also the ability to deliver very well on the mic. His tone was amazing, the way that he'd be able to switch up his cadences, the way that he'd be able to put extra emphasis on words that needed to have that emphasis on them. His delivery was outstanding. Like, I just want to remind y'all that he was a champion at the same time as some of the other top guys or champions like Adam Cole and Keith Lee, and this guy was standing side by side with them. We looked at him the same way we looked at them. We thought all three of these guys are going to be big time stars on the main roster, and sadly, none of them panned out. Not a single one of them. Would you look at that? It's like every champion in 2019 was just cursed or something. Yeah, especially that guy on the main roster. What was his name again? I think it was a Kofi Kingston. So at least Santos ain't get that treatment. Now, eventually, though, just like all good reigns, it would come to an end and he would go to the main roster. And this is where you're thinking, okay, he has to get the push. Maybe you don't just push him to the world title scene immediately, but you definitely start pushing him to the IC scene, the US scene, one of these two. And, well, it would, something would happen. He was having a lot of matches. He was kind of having a lot of matches, and, you know, my goodness, man, it was, no. The first couple months of him being on the roster was just not it at all by any means. But I know you see that guy down there. I know you see that guy down there. I know you know what's coming next. So there's this guy named Triple Safe who knew about a faction once point in time that was, headed by Eddie Guerrero, and it was called LWO. And, well, Triple Safe saw Rey Mysterio, a luchador legend, and also saw Santos Escobar, a guy who comes from a very prominent Lucha Libre family, and you're thinking, oh, well, luchador plus luchador gives us LWO. Let's go ahead and do this. Now, I just want to remind y'all, this was coming off of a major, and I mean major heel run. This guy over here, he ain't ever been a heel in WWE. So you're thinking, well, are we gonna make Rey a heel? Because I know damn well we ain't gonna make Santos a face. No. Triple Save. Why? Why the hell would you make this man a face? Oh my God. And it wasn't even the good kind of way either. Like, this dude was a whole-on baby face. What the hell? Here's problem number one with Santos booking. Santos was a very big heel in NXT, an absolutely beloved heel in NXT. And so the WWE fans that watched Santos throughout NXT, they already knew what was coming with this entire storyline because we had seen it before. He's a backstabber. He's a betrayer. So there's no suspense at all in what he's going to do. But then the people who only watch the main roster, Well, they didn't really care about this. They didn't really present Santos in a great way. He was just doing whatever on the main roster. So when we seen Santos pair up with Rey and form LWO with Cruz and Joaquin and Zelina, we're just thinking, oh, you just put a bunch of Latinos together. That's all it is right here. Because we don't know much about Santos. We ain't got a reason to even root for him as a babyface. So you had a foundation for him to be a heel, and you just destroyed that entire thing. And you had no foundation for him to be a babyface, and you tried making this a thing. This right here was problem number one. A problem that did not need to be had, because you easily could have done Santos and Rey Mysterio how Kishimoto did Madara and Hashirama. To the Leaf Village, because of the great Lord Toby Rama, Madara was pronounced as evil, which he definitely was, because he was a dirty ass Uchiha. They stank. They don't bathe. I know this. Look at him. So when it came time to create a Hokage for the Leaf Village, after both Madara and Hashirama had founded the Leaf Village, the people voted for Hashirama. But the entire time, Madara and Hashirama were still seen as equals in everything. With Santos and Rey forming LWO, this didn't happen. It looked like as if Santos was just a regular schmegular wrestler on the roster, while Rey Mysterio is his all-time great luchador. But as we know with Santos' history, he is also an all-time great luchador down in Mexico. He has a big-time freaking family, comes from a super big family. Why was this not highlighted more? Had they made Santos look like an equal to Rey Mysterio, had they made it look like as if, both of their decisions mattered and it wasn't just Rey's, both of them had an opinion in leading this faction, I think it would have been a bit better, especially if you started creating that power struggle between both guys. So when the breakup does happen, it looks a lot better. And we're not just looking at it like, oh, some underling is just trying to take over Rey Mysterio, and that's just it. But see, before the whole entire turn, though, there was actually a very interesting thing that took place. So Santos would win a number one contenders match, but then eventually would get taken out, so he wasn't able to challenge for the U.S. title. Rey Mysterio would take his place and then get the U.S. title off of Austin Theory. And Santos, while he did, was proud of Rey Mysterio, that was his shot that he wanted, and eventually he would get his match against Rey Mysterio. But he didn't win the match. Instead, it was Logan Paul who won the match. And then they created this whole entire thing where it was believed that Santos left the brass knuckles in the ring to allow Logan Paul to take out Rey. Need I remind y'all that LWO, even in this point in time, still did not look like anything of a good faction. People only cared about Rey, and that was it. Need I also remind you that Logan Paul did quite literally nothing with the belt, and it could have just been Santos turning heel in the match against Rey and then getting the U.S. title off of Rey Mysterio. That would have been a lot better, and he could have done stuff with the belt. So yeah, no, this was already a failure. But hey, guess what would happen? We would run this feud back an entire year later. We would have Santos, now with Legado del Fantasma, teaming up with Dominic Mysterio to go up against Rey and Andrade at WrestleMania. So now you're like, okay, you know what? Santos and Dom have to get the win, especially after Dom lost the past Rey Mysterio match at WrestleMania. But no, they would lose. You could have gave Santos and Dom a big time win here, but you didn't. You could have made Santos look like a credible wrestler, but you didn't. Speaking of credibility, you could have never had him get 4-0'd by LA Knight. Yeah. But did you? No. Instead, you just had LA Knight whooping Santos' ass every single time, including beating up basically all of Legado del Fantasma besides Elektra Lopez. Even though he did kind of disrespect her on multiple different occasions. There was also a point in time where you could have actually had Santos dethrone LA Knight in like that fourth match, but you still didn't do that either. Oh, my goodness. And then there's just Legado del Fantasma that you don't try to do anything with at all. Don't try to, talk about any of their prominent lineage. Don't try to talk about the fact that they're all from like big time wrestling family. No, none of that at all in the slightest. You basically just make them more or less jobbers every week. Actually, they'd be lucky to get on TV every week. So yeah, no, let's not try to blame Santos Escobar for the lack of connection with the WWE audience when WWE themselves didn't have a connection with Santos. This guy has been royally screwed over. He should have been the next Rey or the next Eddie, but instead they made him into the next Sin Cara, another great Latino superstar that should have been a superstar in WWE, but wasn't because the company just wanted to fumble him. But hey, y'all go ahead and let me know y'all opinions down below on Santos Escobar. Do you feel like WWE fumbled him? Would you put it on Santos? Go ahead and let me know down below. And if you haven't already, make sure you do like and follow for more.